Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever even thought about learning to code, you know it can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose. It's just a lot. So today, we're going to turn all that chaos into a clear, step-by-step roadmap for navigating the world of web development.
And let's just start by being real about it. This quote absolutely nails the feeling, right? It is overwhelming. You've got countless technologies, all these buzzwords, and it feels like everyone has a conflicting opinion. But trust me, having a strategic plan changes everything.
So to cut through all that noise, we need a clear goal. And our goal today is to become a full-stack developer. Just think of this person as the architect and the builder all in one. They can create a complete web application, from the buttons you click all the way down to the database that stores your info. So here's the game plan for today. First, we'll really nail down what full stack means. Then we'll walk through 4 clear phases, starting with the front end, then building the back end, figuring out the perfect time to add frameworks, and finally, getting your creation out into the world.
Okay, let's dive right in. Every single web app you use, everything from YouTube to your online banking, it really has 2 very different sides to it. And understanding that split is step 1.
So you have the front end, or the client side. That's everything you actually see and interact with in your browser. The layout, the buttons, the colors. And then you have the back end, the server side. That's the hidden engine room. It's the server, the database, and all the logic that makes the whole thing actually work.
A really great way to picture this is the pancake stack. Just imagine that every technology is one layer, one pancake. At the very top, you got the stuff that runs in your browser. That's the front end. And as you go down the stack, you get the web server, the database, and right at the bottom, the operating system. A full-stack developer, they're comfortable working up and down that entire stack.
Okay, so here's the most crucial point, and a lot of people get this wrong. We don't start in the middle of the stack. You wouldn't build a house starting with the roof, right? You build the foundation first. And in web development, that foundation is absolutely the front end. You have to learn what the user sees before you can make it all work behind the scenes.
And this is your path. It's a clear progression. You start with HTML, which is just the skeleton of your page, the headings and paragraphs. Then you bring in CSS to make it look good, the style. And here's the critical part. You stop and you build something, like a simple portfolio site. Then you learn JavaScript to make it interactive. And what do you do next? You guessed it. You build another project, like a little game, to make sure it all sinks in.
This right here brings us to what is honestly the golden rule of this whole roadmap. You have to build things to actually learn. Watching tutorials is fine, but that's passive. You only truly understand the stuff when you're the one writing the code, fixing the bugs, and creating something from nothing.
Okay, so now that you can build a solid, static website, it's time to move to the back end. It's time to give our creation a brain and a memory to make it truly dynamic.
But before we even think about data, we need the right tools in our tool belt. You're going to get comfortable with the terminal, which lets you navigate your computer like a pro. You'll master Git and GitHub. Think of it like a time machine for your code. It's a lifesaver. And here's the best part. You'll learn Node.js and Express, which lets you use the JavaScript you already know from the front end to build your back end. No new language required. Now this is where it gets really interesting. A front-end-only site has no memory. It can't remember who a user is or what they put in their shopping cart. For that kind of persistence, for a brain that can actually remember things, we need a database.
Now, when it comes to databases, you'll hear about 2 main flavors. You've got SQL databases, which are super structured, organizing data into tables, just like a bunch of linked spreadsheets. And then you have NoSQL databases, which are way more flexible. A huge part of being a great full-stack developer is knowing which one is the right tool for the job you're trying to do.
So at this point, you actually have all the pieces to build a complete web application from scratch. You've got a front end, you can connect it to a back end, and you can store data in a database. But I bet you're asking a pretty big question. Yeah, where's the stuff everyone is always talking about online? Where are the big names like React, Vue, and Angular? We haven't even mentioned them yet, and believe me, that is 100% on purpose. And here it is. This is the single most critical strategic decision in your entire learning journey. You learn frameworks now only after you've mastered the fundamentals. See, frameworks are just shortcuts. They're tools that make your life easier. But you can't possibly understand or appreciate the shortcut if you don't first understand the long way around, the plain JavaScript code they're replacing. So, okay, which framework should you start with?
Well, for most people, the smartest choice is React. Not because it's magically better, but for practical reasons. It's the most popular, it has a massive community for support, and frankly, it's the most marketable skill when you go to look for a job.
Once you're feeling pretty good with React, the next step to level up like a pro is TypeScript. The best way to think about it is JavaScript, but with guardrails. It helps you catch common mistakes before your code even runs, and it is an absolute game changer when you start working on bigger, more complex applications.
All right, you've done it. You've built an incredible, full-stack project using modern tools. The final phase, the grand finale, is sharing it with the world. I mean, an application isn't much use if it only runs on your laptop, right? You can't run a professional website from your house. What happens if the power goes out? Instead, we use the cloud. All that means is you're renting space on someone else's giant, powerful computers in massive data centers run by providers like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. You'll need to learn the basics of getting your application up and running on one of them.
And finally, you add that professional polish. This is the stuff that really separates the pros from the hobbyists. You'll learn the basics of how the internet actually works under the hood. You'll dive into security to protect your app and your users. And you'll explore performance to make sure your site is blazing fast for everyone.
And there it is, the whole package. We started with that non-negotiable front-end foundation. We built a back-end engine with Node.js. We strategically layered on powerful tools like React and TypeScript at just the right moment. And we finished with the professional deployment skills to get it live. That right there is the complete full-stack skill set.
So there you have it. That overwhelming cloud of confusion has been replaced by a clear, strategic plan. We've laid out the path, building one skill right on top of the other. So the only question left is the most exciting one of all.